Reese-Zammit, my Moretfield tried to win me 70,000 followers, but I don't get lost socially. Imagine being Reese-Zammit for a moment. You turn 21 years old next Wednesday, are already a British-Irish Lion, Six Nations champion, and World Rugby Breakthrough Player of the Year nominee with more than 260,000 followers across your Instagram, Twitter and TikTok account. This is reality for the Gloucester wing, who only left Hartpury College a couple of years ago, his life irreversibly altered in a flash of Reese Lightning, the nickname he has embraced. And he can pinpoint the moment he was catapulted into public consciousness. During the Guinness Six Nations tournament last year, Wales had scraped past Ireland on the opening Sunday, a match in which he scored an acrobatic try, then travelled to Moretfield. With no fans in the ground and millions watching on the BBC, Wales were trailing by 4 points 10 minutes from full time. Reese-Zammit took Willisai Halaholo's pass on halfway, chipped Stuart Hogg by the Scottish 22, sped past the Scotland captain and dived on the bouncing ball. I gained 70,000 followers overnight after that, Reese-Zammit said. As he sits in the King's Home stands in a black tracksuit, reflecting on the past 2 years of his life, his youth is clear. A small nervous laugh punctuates our conversation, and his fresh face is showing little sign of suddenly sprouting stubble. He walks tall, clearly starting to fill out his 6 feet 3 inches frame, but in many ways he is a boy becoming a man in the public arena. It could be easy for a 20-year-old to be swept away by the hype, but Reese-Zammit's family ensure that is not the case. He lives in a Cardiff flat with his brother, Taylor, now a Malta rugby international thanks to their grandfather's link to the country. Every day the boys go round the corner to the family home for dinner and to see their dog, Crystal. Maxine and Joe, their parents, love it. My day consists of getting up at 6:45 a.m., an hour and 15 minutes in the car here, train, then an hour and 15 minutes back, Reese-Zammit says. It's a bit of a long trek every day, but it's worth it when I'm home by 4 p.m. every day and get to spend the night with my family. I chill with mom, dad, my brother and dog. It's only when I go out people recognize me. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. It's 3 seconds out of your day to maybe make someone else's. Joe has been on his son's case recently. Before Lewis scored against Perpignan on Saturday, he had not claimed a try since November. His father jokingly let him know. Oh my God, he didn't stop going on about it, Reese-Zammit says, laughing. He was rinsing me. He jokes around with my brother, trying to give me motivation. I'm not playing my best rugby so far, so still have a lot of work to do to get to the levels of last year. That self-awareness is a good sign of a hungry rugby player. Reese-Zammit may be young but knows he operates in 2 worlds, the glossy one of social media, where it looks like 1 minute he is in Tenerife, Antigua or Monaco on holiday, the next watching his beloved Manchester United live, and the reality, in which he is a grounded, family-oriented grafter who has spent an hour a day since he was 18 in sprint training sessions before team run. I don't get lost in it, he says. It's a business, social media. It's hard to compare rugby players to other sports with it, because of the money in basketball or American football. You're adding a lot of knots to the end. Ronaldo makes more money on social media than he does playing football. It's a business, and every athlete will try to make as much money as they can. It's getting that balance, and making sure you're not switching off your profession for social media. He had to learn patience in his profession 2 years ago. For the 2026 Nations he was called by Wayne Pivac, the head coach, into the Wales squad, barely a handful of Gloucester games under his belt. Wide-eyed and wanting it all, he found it difficult waiting for a debut that never came, Pivac later admitting he was far too raw. Reese-Zammit understands that now. I was gutted I didn't play, he explained. It was the same feeling when I didn't play for Wales under 16s, as I got injured. I thought it was the be-all and end-all, then in the end it worked out well. Looking back, it was the best thing that could have happened. It allowed me to get better in that environment leading into the autumn, then the following Six Nations. Fitness was the struggle. The repeated efforts, kick-chase side of the game I was lacking as ID never experienced that before. ID only played 10 games for Gloucester, so wasn't experienced. Looking at training and how good the boys were at catching high balls and stuff, took me to the next level. Eventually, he did make his debut in the 2020 Autumn Nations Cup. Reese-Zammit thinks those eerie days playing in front of empty grounds at Park Y Scarlets helped him. It's probably better I did it the way I did, he admits. It would have been throwing me in at the deep end in front of 75,000 people. Playing without a crowd made it so much easier when we did come to games with a crowd. In last year's Six Nations it all clicked. He played all 5 games, scored 4 tries, ended as a champion and a Lions bolter. But he was not satisfied having seen France snatch the Grand Slam from his Wales side 85 minutes into their final game in Paris. We were all pretty down after that. He remembers of the 32-30 loss in Paris. It was heartbreaking, then we had to wait a week. I played for Gloucester against Newcastle on the day Scotland played France. Dad drove me home in his car. I watched the first half on his iPad, then got home to my mum and brother and sat in front of the TV watching. To win the championship and the Triple Crown was amazing, but it would have been nice to have won that Grand Slam. That's the mentality you've got to have. For all he has achieved quickly, there is no resting on laurels. In fact, he almost seems restless, desperate to tick off more goals soon. Asked how he can better 2021, a year of dreams, from the Lions to making the World Rugby Breakthrough Player of the Year shortlist with the Australian Andrew Kellaway, England's Marcus Smith and eventual the winner, New Zealand's Will Jordan, he reels off a list of desired achievement. Grand Slam, Championship with Gloucester, European Challenge Cup. That would beat my 2021, he says determinedly, only interested in top-shelf achievement. The Six Nations is next, a tournament he has never experienced properly, with supporters. Having played South Africa, Fiji and Australia in the autumn, experiencing his first full houses on Cap Nos 10, 11 and 12, he is delighted that Mark Drakeford, the First Minister of Wales, allowed the Principality Stadium doors to open in time, after fans were locked out during the Christmas period. Thank God. That would have been the worst, he says of the prospect of another soulless Six Nation. This will be quite different from his first Cardiff match day, for Landaf under 15s in front of 50 parents. You can't hear your own team, sometimes, he said. You're shouting at someone and they're not even turning around. It gives everyone a buzz. It gets you addicted. You want to play in front of all those Welsh fans every week. Burn up the track, like he did last year, and his follower numbers will soar again. But all that matters to Reese-Zammit are on-field figures. My best is still to come, he says. I haven't hit a peak or anything. Who knows how fast I can get.